HR isn't doing anything about a colleague who's making my life miserable because I lost weight. I just returned to work after a month-long medical leave. In short, after a decade of medical gaslighting, a new doctor ordered an urgent MRI during a routine checkup. They found a tumor in my abdomen. I was rushed into surgery within 24 hours. It turned out to be a benign 8-kilogram tumor pressing on vital organs. Doctors said I had about a week before organ failure. I'm lucky to be alive, and time will tell if there are long-term organ consequences. But for now, everything seems okay. Emotionally, I'm still not myself, but the only external change everyone noticed is that I've lost a lot of weight. The main thing is, I'm healthy and happy now. I expected colleagues to have questions. Curiosity is normal, so I prepared a simple response. Emergency surgery, but I'm fine now. Most were satisfied with that, except one colleague I barely talked to. Let's call her Aubrey. On my first day back, Aubrey approached me and said, "You should have asked me for advice if you wanted to lose weight instead of resorting to such drastic measures. You'll just gain it all back." Look, I'd heard about Aubrey's reputation, but since we never worked together, I didn't think it'd be an issue for me. She somehow considers herself a fitness expert and calls herself a health coach, which has nothing to do with our company. She's notorious for giving unsolicited, incorrect health advice and constantly commenting on what others eat. I was speechless when she asked why I chose surgery instead of working out to lose weight. There's nothing wrong with surgical weight loss, but that's not my situation at all, and her aggression and rumor spreading really hurt. On my second week back, Aubrey came to my office at the end of the day in workout clothes and offered to go with me if I was scared to hit the gym alone. Doctors have banned me from lifting my own child, doing laundry, or climbing stairs, let alone going to the gym with this lunatic. I don't remember exactly what I said, but as she left, she declared I'd gain the weight back because I'm lazy. The next day, Aubrey angrily complained about me at a work meeting I wasn't at. Ironically, I was at a doctor's follow-up. I don't know everything she said, but the gist was that if I can't make an effort to lose weight, I clearly can't do my job properly. HR called us for a mediation meeting. In our company, such mediation can affect your annual bonus. I have no idea why I was dragged into this when Aubrey's the one acting like a jerk. At the mediation, Aubrey claimed my new body triggers her and that I should have considered others' feelings and warned her before the surgery. I barely had time to tell my husband and pick up my kid from daycare, and I certainly don't owe Aubrey any warnings. I get that she's clearly struggling, but that doesn't justify her behavior. HR said that while they can't force me to disclose my medical history, the situation might de-escalate if I explained what surgery I had and why. I replied that I'm not obligated to share personal medical details, and Aubrey's poor stress coping skills don't give her the right to know my medical information. Their response was something like, "Well, then we can't stop her from bothering you." After Thanksgiving, my doctor helped me file for temporary disability so I could work from home. I had minor post-surgery complications, but the main reason was to avoid Aubrey. The company hates remote work, so they're clearly unhappy. Aubrey still sends me workout videos and diet plans, and when I forward them to HR, they reply, "Noted. Do you know when you'll return to the office?" I'm considering escalating the conflict to the corporate level and consulting an employment lawyer. Would that be too much? I still feel vulnerable post-surgery and don't have the energy for this, especially since Aubrey's obsession with weight loss is exactly why doctors blamed me for all my health issues for years. I've worked at this company for 5 years and I am just exhausted and disappointed with how they're handling this. I want it to end as soon as possible. Update 1. 2 months later, I saw many comments asking where management was in all this, so I'll start there. My boss, George, was preparing to retire at the time. George is about my grandfather's age, so this whole situation baffled him, as it did his successor whom he was training. Both met with Aubrey's boss. Trust me, I've documented every one of her actions from the start. Both assured me they'd deal with her. Neither suggested that mediation meeting. That was HR's idea. I was told details of the meeting where Aubrey trashed me, and it was awful. Her own boss asked her to leave, and several employees demanded she stop, so management and colleagues tried to shut her down from different angles. Our company has a terrible HR structure and weak staff at junior and mid-levels. When Aubrey's boss went to HR about her unacceptable behavior. They decided it was a conflict requiring mediation. Reminder, this can affect your annual bonus, even though both my boss, George, and Aubrey's boss told them I did nothing wrong. When George found out, he spoke to the HR manager who claimed my month-long absence probably created a heavy workload and extra tasks for Aubrey, though Aubrey isn't even qualified to do my job. Management repeatedly told me they're furious with how HR is handling this. When my doctor extended my remote work disability status, HR said my absence from the office was concerning. I wrote to the HR director to clarify, and he replied that since I'm not in the office, the company naturally has questions about my attendance. I explained again that I have medical documents, and if the company doesn't allow remote work, they're legally required to grant me leave. His response was, medical documents don't carry much weight in the company. After that, I contacted a lawyer. The issue with Aubrey took a backseat when HR started a campaign of medical documents don't matter. On my lawyer's advice, I reached out to top HR management. That's when this absurd situation came to light. By the way, I checked with my lawyer if I could share this in an update, and he laughed, saying I can't leave people without a resolution after all this. I called the head of HR at our company, which meant bypassing about 5 people, but I had George's and my new boss's blessing. I asked why my absence was an issue despite valid medical documents. She had no idea what I was talking about, so I told her the whole story, including the mediation meeting, Aubrey's harassment, and the HR director's claim, her direct subordinate, that medical documents don't matter. She was stunned and requested an urgent meeting with me and my lawyer. At that meeting, my lawyer barely had to say anything because the head of HR was horrified by what she heard. I've never seen someone literally steam with anger, but if it were physically possible, that's what would have happened. My lawyer didn't need to speak. He just nodded and smiled as the head of HR offered me extended paid medical leave to recover fully and assured me the issue with Aubrey sending fitness plans would be resolved immediately. I didn't hear about Aubrey for a long time, but rumors say the HR staff involved in organizing that mediation meeting and threatening me with disciplinary action were fired. Aubrey wasn't fired, as they believed HR misled her. Though I disagree with that decision, I can understand it. She was put on strict probation, but then she showed up at my house. Now we moved from mild insanity to full-blown madness. I was still on leave when, out of nowhere, Aubrey appeared at my doorstep on a weekend with 2 other women. As commenters predicted, she's deeply entrenched in some MLM scheme or even a cult. I'm not sure anymore. Aubrey came to show me exercises, hand me diet supplement samples, and discuss my career because she was supposedly concerned about my physical and professional health. She didn't get past my mother-in-law, and that was a true gift from fate. My mother-in-law made it crystal clear where she could shove her supplements, and they quickly retreated. I immediately notified my lawyer and the head of HR. In short, Aubrey is now a full-time wellness coach. I'm glad I trusted my instincts and hired a lawyer because over the past year, the company has changed so much due to a toxic HR department that enabled behavior like Aubrey's and spread false information about medical leaves and time off. It's barely recognizable now. Plus, my boss and mentor no longer work here, so I'm not sure I'll return it even when doctors clear me. The company is restructuring, and my department might be split among other divisions or relocated to other regions of the state. I've started looking for a new job and am working on a resume for fully remote positions, as that feels like a much better option. Huge thanks to all the commenters for the support. Update 2. 2 months later, I got a job offer from a local company transitioning to fully remote work, with management and admin meeting in person once a month. The salary is great, 90% remote, and the role suits me perfectly, so I'm thrilled. My role is awesome. I'm now head of payroll, reporting directly to the COO. I was hired by the CEO and COO. At our first admin meeting, sitting across from me was none other than the HR director who claimed medical documents don't matter, and organized that mediation with Aubrey. Let's call him Bob. In this company, Bob is a temporary HR director. When he saw me, he was visibly uncomfortable. We started reviewing employee files, including several on maternity leave and 2 with workplace injuries. Bob grew quieter as we approved medical documents and paid sick leaves. Each time I smiled, looked him in the eyes and said, "Oh, Jill has medical documents? Great. Medical documents carry huge weight. It's critical they're in order." He looked like he wanted to sink through the floor. At one point, he tried to object to an employee using accrued vacation days to care for a dying parent, even though they had enough paid leave. Smiling, I said, "You're absolutely right. In cases like this, our employee support fund should cover half the time. It'd be terribly unfair to strip this employee of all their paid leave, especially since they'll be grieving a loved one in the coming months. Maybe you could prepare the fund paperwork this afternoon. That's so generous of you." Everyone was delighted and agreed. Bob's face looked like he'd swallowed a lemon, while everyone else chimed in. "Oh my God, Bob, that's so kind of you." He had to comply, and within an hour I got the paperwork from him. In short, screw Bob. Plus, he's just a temp, so he'll be gone soon anyway. As for my health, I'm doing much better and happy to move on, forgetting this nightmare. Absolute silence from Aubrey, which suits me perfectly. And now, straight to the next story. My manager wanted to fire me for daring to eat. Now the manager's jobless and I'm the department hero. Normally, I'd use a throwaway account for this crap, but not today. I'm so pissed I don't care anymore. Here's the story. Today at 2 p.m., I'm starving. Just back from a nearby fast food joint, heading to the break room with a bag of food. All I'm dreaming of is eating in peace, recharging, and bracing myself for the endless waves of snarky customers my workplace is known for. I get to the door, and some 50-something blonde woman starts following me. I can literally feel her trailing me, making this annoying psst sound. She does it 3 times, but I ignore her because I'm not a damn dog. When she realizes I'm not responding to her beckoning, this conversation happens. Woman: excuse me. Me: sorry ma'am, I'm on break, but I'll call a colleague to help you. I reach for my radio to call someone to the floor, but she's not having it. I won't be treated like this. I'm a valued customer and demand proper service. You will help me right now, period. No questions. Ma'am, I'd be happy to help, but my lunch break is only 30 minutes. I don't care if you're hungry. The customer always comes first. I didn't even argue. I just turned, ignored her, went into the break room, and locked the door. She pounded on it furiously for a few seconds before calming down. Someone else must have helped her. Later, I learned she complained to the manager, and of course the manager kissed her ass, saying they'd deal with me because an employee must never refuse a customer service, even on break, and apparently this rule applies even if I call someone else via radio. Honestly, I just wanted to vent. I'm fed up with this company, this management, and especially these customers. So here's my tirade. Something's wrong with people. Update 3, the next day. So I followed your advice and called the main office to complain about essentially being punished for following rules and refusing to serve a customer during my legal break. Of course, the central office immediately took my side, and it seemed like the issue was about to be resolved, and my name would be cleared. But no, of course not. In retail, nothing's ever that simple. Turns out there's another factor. That damn woman called the main office and demanded I be fired for rude behavior. The problem, guys, is that the store has cameras. Management investigated, and since there's no audio, all they saw was me walking away from the customer and slamming the break room door in her face. Things couldn't get worse, right? Wrong? It got worse. Guess what? I asked the supervisor, my old friend, to check the time tracking system. It's automatically logged by the computer, but management can make changes. And guess what? Someone deleted the record of my break. Now I'm accused not only of refusing to serve a customer, but also of not logging a break and just leaving my post to buy food. What the hell? Is this a system error, or did the manager do it to cover their own ass, or does he just hate me? We have a long history of conflicts, and everyone knows he can't stand me. But here's what I'll say. I'm not going to sit quietly like a doormat. I'll fight to the end, even if it feels like I have no allies right now. I don't know what else I can do, but I'll try my hardest. I'll keep you posted if there's news. Update 4, the next day. 2 big things happened today, and I'll explain them as thoroughly as possible. First, I woke up at the crack of dawn and called the main office. My plan was to insist on further investigation of my situation, even if they thought everything was fine on their end. As expected, the person on the phone repeated what they said during my first call. But then I said the magic word, lawsuit. As soon as I calmly but firmly mentioned it, they asked me to hold and got their supervisor on the line. I explained my situation again, and he assured me he'd handle it personally. Oh, and I asked for contact info to write to the company president and sent him a detailed letter about my situation. But I didn't stop there. I had another plan. Catch the manager red-handed, in case the main office screws up. And the second thing that happened, so I get to work and head straight to the manager's office. We had this conversation. Me: I need to urgently discuss something important. Manager: can it wait? I need to finish paperwork by noon. No, it can't wait. The supervisor told me the record of my break from 3 days ago is missing from the system. I know I logged my break. What happened? That's weird. I'll look into it. Good, but no need. I already called the main office. They said they'll handle it personally. At that moment, I had the widest, smuggest grin of my life. It felt good. Damn good. The manager visibly swallowed and looked like he nearly crapped himself. That wasn't necessary. You could have come to me first. Yeah, I know, but I didn't want to waste your time. You're always so busy with important stuff, like reviewing paperwork. He was clearly getting annoyed at my audacity and sarcastic tone, but I was enjoying it too much. Listen, author, I don't appreciate your tone right now. My apologies. I just wanted to give you a heads up in case the main office starts asking questions. You know how it goes. Some of you might wonder, why did I do that? Here's why. I had a hunch that since he'd only been a manager for 3 months, he might not know the system logs all deletions and re-entries. They usually tell managers this, but I took a chance because A, I don't know who else could have deleted my break records, and B, if he did it, he likely didn't know deletions are tracked. My goal? Simple. I figured, scared by my hint about the main office, he'd quickly restore my records. And guess what? That's exactly what he did. A few minutes after our talk, he comes up to me and says, "Author, I figured out the issue. There was some glitch in the system and your logs didn't register, but it's fixed now. Your records are back." Wow, thanks. I really appreciate it. No problem. But wait, there's more. Just a couple of hours into my shift, I see the manager storm out of the store, slamming his office door. I asked my buddy, the supervisor, what happened? Me, "Dude, why is he so mad?" Supervisor, "No idea. He was on the phone with the main office for a few minutes, then asked me why I told you about the missing time records. Hold on, let me find out." My supervisor runs outside, catches up with the manager, and they talk for a bit. Then the manager gets in his car and speeds off angrily. The supervisor comes back, walks up to me and says, "Dude, he's screwed. The main office found proof he tampered with the time tracking system. Looks like he deleted your records yesterday and added them back this morning to cover his ass." Whoa, yeah, how could he not know the system tracks that stuff? No clue, man. So he's probably getting fired. And I'm probably keeping my job. Without you guys' support, I wouldn't have gotten through this. I wouldn't have come up with half the ideas that got me out of this mess. To those who said I should have just let it go instead of making more problems for myself, no way, guys. When someone tries to ruin your life, you don't just take it. Huge thanks to everyone for the support. Hope to share more stories soon, preferably about customers, not about almost losing my job. Update 5. This is probably the last update to this story, at least until there are results from my actions today. Now, I know some of you will think I went overboard or acted too harshly, but morally, I had to do it. So even though I was happy with yesterday's outcome, something happened today that pushed me to go further. See, I had a morning shift, so at 7 a.m., I got to work in a great mood, thrilled that the manager was finally caught red-handed. But guess who I saw when I walked into the store? That same manager. He didn't say a word as I passed by, though I greeted him in a friendly tone. I wasn't exactly surprised, but what the hell is he still doing here? Wasn't the main office supposed to take action instead of just giving him a slap on the wrist? What he did was literally illegal. Clearly, no one wanted to see it through, so now it's my turn to serve them a hot dish called justice. After a quick chat with my friend, the supervisor, I confirmed what many of you predicted. The main office swept it under the rug because the manager somehow spun enough convincing nonsense to avoid getting fired. That's when I thought, this won't do. He's trying to ruin my life, and I'm supposed to sit back and watch a corrupt, frankly illegal system keep chugging along? Not today, buddy. You tried to screw me and failed, but now I'm going to screw you like never before. So I kept working calmly, stocking shelves, helping customers. The manager didn't say a word to me all day. Around 4 p.m. he left as another manager came to close the shift, and I left around 4:30. That's when I knew it was time to act. I weighed my options and decided the best move was to call the head office and issue an ultimatum. Either they fire the manager, or I sue and demand an explanation for why the time tampering was ignored. In this case, the only acceptable disciplinary action is firing the manager. I called the head office and asked to be connected to the same supervisor I'd spoken to before. After the usual formalities, the conversation went something like this. Me: "As I understand it, the manager at my store tampered with my time records twice, and no disciplinary action has been taken." Supervisor: "Let me assure you, we'll definitely take appropriate measures to resolve this. We take payroll manipulation very seriously." Me: "Let me assure you, you have two options. First, you hang up and I send the company a lawsuit demanding an explanation for why the manager is still employed after committing a blatantly illegal act. Or the second option, which I'm sure works for both sides, the company fires the manager, and I don't sue. And no, I'm not talking about politely asking him to resign. I mean, immediate termination." Supervisor: Silence. Me: "Hello? One moment, please. I'll transfer you to the HR director so you can formally file a complaint." "Wait, are you saying my complaint hasn't even been officially recorded yet? I already spoke to you about this." "One second." At this point, he put me on hold and transferred me to the HR director. I explained the situation, and she assured me she'd personally ensure the manager didn't spend another day on the job. Apparently, he was fired almost immediately. I'll try to keep you posted if anything else happens. That's how it's done. Never settle for a good enough outcome, especially when someone's trying to ruin your life. Edited. Some of you are calling me a troll, saying this is all made up, that I don't know what a lawsuit is, and so on. You know what? I don't give a damn about those people's opinions because this is my life, and I know what happened. I get that I went overboard. I don't care. If you knew this manager personally and had to deal with him daily, you wouldn't care either. Stop judging me.